Yes. Yes.
But like the comparison, like with me and some of the other guys.
So that'd be something neat to see, the Harry Centers at
The Pirates playing in Williams.
All right, welcome back to the third period. Well, folks, we got some bad news.
Maybe bad news.
Still, it's still considered bad news.
Do you want me to take the lead on this since I was the contact person?
Sure, go ahead. You were, trying, you were playing more and more with it.
Okay, so since before last year's beer tournament, I had been trying to get Badass Beard Care to be a sponsor on the show because it's a product I had used. And look at me and Dave. We're bearded guys. We know most of the listenership probably has some kind of facial hair and would appreciate a product that we could, vouch for. And finally, this past December, talks with them really started to go through. We were really working on something, and maybe about a month and a half ago, I would say, right, give or take,
something like that.
We finally got something hammered out that would work for the show, and that was the ad you had been hearing for the last few episodes at the end of the second period. And now, total honesty, they did not need to send us as much cool stuff as they did. They sent us a lot of really cool stuff. David and I each got full-size beard washes and beard butter, and
which we are grateful for.
And beard oil. Yeah, it's really good stuff, and it is a very good product. And they were going to sponsor this year's tournament, and we were doing a specifically facial hair tournament, not just beards, but all kinds of facial hair.
And we found some doozies.
We did.
And some we talked last episode, too.
Last episode, we were supposed to have a representative from Badass Beard Care on the show. And I got to say, the reason we're talking about this with you, the listener, is because we just want to be transparent with you, because we appreciate you all listening to us.
I mean, yeah, we should be honest in general.
Right. But, some people, some podcasts may not acknowledge this kind of thing and just move forward, whereas we built this up, we got to acknowledge it.
We built this up for a while.
The person I had spoke to said that they were going to put the time and date in their calendar, their Pacific time. So I even said, you need to have it at 7:30 your time, because we record around 10:30 our time. Person said, great. They said, I can't wait to, see the document in a few weeks and whatever. And we left it at that. So the week leading up to last episode, I had sent them the doc. I had said to them, hey, this is what we're thinking. We're going to record your part first. So that way you can get back to being with your family. We know that you're doing us a favor. So please, continue what you're doing. Just come on. We'll record you with the beer tournament, and then you're good. And then we'll finish up the show. And I never heard anything from him. And
I know you reached out to him quite a few times to the lead up to last episode. So
I had been in pretty regular communication with him up until then. Yeah. So then that Thursday night we were talking, and I said, I haven't heard anything from this guy yet. And just by chance, I was texting Jonathan, and I was telling Jonathan about it. He's like, hey, if you don't want to come on, I'll come on. And so that's why Jonathan was on the show last week, which is great. We love Jonathan. He's the Jimmy Garvin of our fabulous Freebirds, using a wrestling reference here. Me and David are PS and Terry Gordy, and he's our Jimmy Jam. I'm sure he might chuckle at that, but it's a great reference for anyone who knows it. That said, we're not going to continue with the facial hair tournament. We're no longer going to be doing the Badass Beard Care ad. Brandon, the winner of the Beard Care package, got his stuff. He said thank you. Said everything smells great. He's already pretty happy with it. So, I mean, at this point they weren't on. They kind of ghosted us. We promoted the heck out of them. So I think it's kind of an even split at this point. Am I annoyed? Sure.
Well, yeah, because some we built up and looking forward to actually keeping in good contact with them to further along this.
Right.
I mean, it's not that he had to be on every, or I should say, it's not that they had to be on every episode when we were doing the tournament, but just to get a face with, of who we're talking with and behind the product.
I agree with that. But at the same time, I look at this as lesson learned. I mean, we're not even 2 years into this podcast, and the fact that we even had 2 sponsors that weren't other podcasts that we're friends with, I think was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's why I'm super appreciative of Fan's idea. And I was really appreciative of Badass Beard Care as well. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and that is what it is. But at the end of the day, I have no complaints about it.
No, I mean, there's really no complaints at all. Like I said, we're grateful for what they sent. We are grateful.
Beyond what they sent us, I think it's really cool they gave us something to give away to a listener. So I can't complain about that. I'm just annoyed, I think, on my end, because I put a lot of hustle into making this happen, and it didn't really.
Yeah. And, the build up and the anticipation.
So
I think it's more the of that is what kind of kills us. And also Facebook couldn't do the poll. Didn't help either.
That's the least of my concerns. Yeah. So
still,
another thing, Facebook no longer does polls on business pages, even though we're not a business, we have a business page. And they no longer let you do polls on those pages. So we had talked about doing a Facebook group for tournaments. And then the more we talked about it, it kind of came down to, do we want to continue to give a shout out to Badass Beard Care every week when they didn't even come on the show and they didn't even respond to us anymore? So it's just one of those things where I think we're just going to cut our losses on this, move forward. And hey, I'll own it, because I'm the one who reached out to them. I tried to make this happen. It didn't happen. Pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and just move forward. So that's where things are right now with all of that. So now let's move on to the actual third period.
Well, there we go. And being it's Good Friday.
For another half hour.
Yes. Jason reminded me of the Good Friday Massacre between the Quebec Nordiques and the Montreal Canadiens.
38 years ago. Ugh, that hurt.
What, that's 38 years ago?
Yeah, because I'll be 38 this year. That's why it hurts.
I'm 39.
That's true. So this is something I've been wanting to talk about since we started this.
Yes.
So how hilarious is it that this episode's being recorded on Good Friday?
The stars are aligned. Here we are. Pretty much it was rivalries between these two teams, the Quebec Nordiques and the Canadiens. And it was not sure how you want to put this.
It was a massacre. That's why it's called the Good Friday Massacre.
I was just trying to think of better words to try for it.
And let me tell you, listeners, there are so many good videos about this on YouTube that if you want to check out the opening of the game, if you want to check out all the fights, if you want to watch the full game, if you want to watch a breakdown, it's all available for you, because I've watched it all, because it's such an interesting game. in the history of the NHL playoffs.
It was brutal.
I mean, you had brothers fight. You legitimately had brothers fighting brothers in this game.
And what's funny is looking at if you go on Wikipedia, you'll find the Good Friday Massacre of this. Of course, yes, you have the goals there, but the penalty minutes, first period alone, it's fighting, holding, slashing, illegal stick, tripping, charging, holding, slashing, elbow, slashing. And then second period's a ton of roughings.
Fighting, game misconduct,
a double minor roughing, fighting, game misconduct, fighting, game misconduct. You get the idea with that. But then I love the third period, tripping. I just found it funny on that one, just because it's just one penalty after a slew of penalties in the second period that are game misconduct.
I was gonna say, it was the second period. I mean, there was a fight that broke out in the first, but the one in the second, there was 14 separate fights in the second period alone.
Well, the time, if you look at the time on all of them, at the 20-minute mark, which is the end of the second period when this all broke out.
Yeah.
And just looking at the list of people who were fighting in this game, Dale Hunter, Guy Carbonneau.
Dale fought his brother Mark, because Mark played on the Canadiens and Dale was on the Nordiques.
That's funny. Yeah, that's just the funny thing, because think of as you're trying to, I can only imagine their parents.
That had to have been an awkward Easter dinner. Pass me the potatoes, you son of a bitch,
Here. Woo. It's just chucked at his head.
So this was a cool thing, and I've even seen it visually and listening to it, watching it on YouTube. But as the public address announcer is reading the penalty summary from the second period in the beginning of the third, as the players are warming up, as players on the ice heard that they were being removed from the game, they started a whole other fight. It's like, oh, I'm out of the game. What do I got to lose?
Yeah, no. If you go on YouTube and look up and just put in Good Friday Massacre, already the first 3 videos are right there, and actually the whole game, 2 hours and 5 minutes is what I'm showing here, is on it. So if you want to watch the whole game, there it is. But no, you're right. I mean, just imagine Easter dinner, and you're across from the brother you just fought.
I actually think this might have been one of the last games that USA aired, because this aired on USA when they had playoff hockey.
Just because the brutality of what has happened might have not fit with the culture.
Well, I think it was the end of their contract. I don't know if it was so much a brutality thing as I think it was the next season they moved to ESPN.
Still though.
Now this is completely free advertising for them. Secret Base does really great YouTube videos that break down games and situations like this. And if you look up the Good Friday Massacre, you'll scroll down and you see the worst hockey fight, 1984, episode 8. That's a really great breakdown of what happens. And it's under 10 minutes. One of the better ones out there. It's a newer one compared to some of the other ones I've watched over the years. But they do a really great job.
Yeah, I can only imagine calling the game.
Oh, who called it for USA? It was one of the many Albert brothers.
One of the many Albert brothers.
Was it Al Albert, maybe?
Good question. That's a good question. Yeah, according to this, the gameplay, total penalty minutes, 252, 11 players ejected, as they put it, belatedly ejected.
Yes. Belatedly is the word, because some of them were already on the ice as they were being told they were ejected from the game. They were warming up for that third period.
Well, all the fights started at the end of the second period.
Well, there were also fights in the first. I mean, let's not
Yeah.
ignore the fact that there were fights in the first.
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, if you look at the listings, it's like game misconduct, all at the 20-minute mark. And, which is at the end of the second period. So majority of them was at the very end of the second period. Just looking at
Could you imagine being a fan at that game?
Probably lost your voice. I'm screaming, just screaming so much, you probably lost your voice out of it.
Here's an interesting tidbit. Chris Chelios was a rookie for Montreal in this game, and he had 2 minutes for roughing in the second period.
Sad part is the roughing part is not much compared to what happened at the end of the second period.
No, but I mean, that's a name guy.
Oh,
that. Yeah. Well, here's another one. Someone else we've talked about previously, Clint Marlachuk.
Yeah, I actually just scrolled down and saw his name. Like,
he was one of the people fighting. Let me tell you, goalie fights. That's when you know it's gotten out of hand.
That's when you know it's funny. Because there was, I think he was a Neil Little. He played for the Phantoms. There was a fight down at the other end of the ice, and literally all you saw was him coming down and just jumping into the pile. It's like you said, it's when goalies fight, it got serious. It's funny to watch because them just trying to fight with all that gear on.
Okay, so you asked who called the game. So for the USA Network, I was right. It was Al Albert with Gary Green, who was a former professional hockey player. For the CBC, it was Bob Cole on play-by-play. Dick Irvin Jr. was the color commentator for the first 2 periods. And then for the third period, it was Bob Cole and Don Cherry.
Don Cherry.
It's almost like they said, we need to bring Cherry in for the end of this game.
The fact that it's Don Cherry, yeah.
What I highly recommend, if you don't want to watch the game, just watch one of the clips, like the compilations of the game on YouTube.
Pretty much the end of the second period is what it's going to be.
Yeah, but you don't get that second period without. I think you need to see the fights in the first to understand how it led to the second period. Yeah,
kind of give a little, hey, a prelude. This is what it is, and oh look, here we are. I can just only imagine, like, just with everything going on, what the color commentators were even thinking at that point, just watching it in front of, just in front of, because could you believe that that's what's actually happening?
I want to say, based on memory, because it's been a bit since I actually watched one of the compilations, there was some shock and disgust.
I'd imagine.
Which you know what? I love when former hockey players call a fight in a hockey game, because they always act like it never happens.
I am shocked. And then it goes back to them actually fighting.
Right. Like, dude, you played this game for 20 years and you were in fights. How are you going to act like you're disgusted by this when you, like, socked a dude's tooth out? Come on now. Don't act like you're above this.
Right?
Sorry. I'm done. I'm just
No,
done.
You're not. You're not done. Yeah. There's some, and, like we said, Chris Chelios was a big name that we had in there. Dale Hunter, like I said, Guy Carbonneau. Just a couple of these names, a couple big names that you hear, that you heard on a normal basis. But yeah, Chris Chelios is a rookie. That's funny. Imagine you are a rookie, and then that all this happens.
He was the third star for the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
What a mess. Now, see, now I'm gonna have to put this on after we record. That's what I'm gonna watch before I go to bed. Is the Good Friday Massacre. So,
well, you do got to look up little flying goalie.
Yes, I'll look that up too.
Oh man, Yeah, that was definitely, and of course, hey, we perfect opportunity for you to have your shot at this. To talk about on Good Friday.
Because it's such an interesting game in hockey history.
I think it's more of an interesting game just because of how it played out with all the fights and everything else.
Well, I mean, and since we're talking about the game specifically, but let's not ignore the fact that the Canadiens, up until right before the playoffs, were a 500 team. They were not a good team. And the Nordiques finished with the best record in their history at that point. And these are just two teams that had a lot of bad blood since the Nordiques came into the league.
Oh, that's why they call them rivalries.
So,
well, here's the thing: you don't have to be you don't have to be the top team to win the cup.
No, you don't. But I mean, based on records, you wouldn't have thought the Canadiens would have did anything, let alone make it to the playoffs that year.
No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have thought that at all.
But that's the beauty of sports, you know. Today's loser could be tomorrow's winner. You never know.
Well, look at the St. Louis Blues. I think by December of that season, they were barely a 500 team. Barely. I don't even think they were even barely. And they won the cup. The Kings.
Yeah.
You know, that's a prime example. They were 8th seed and they won the cup the one year.
That's
so
true.
You don't have to be the number one seed, because I don't know how many times I've watched number one seeds just go out. You know, I know San Jose was one of the bigger ones with being number one seeds for so long, and of course knocked out in the first round.
Right.
I mean, who knows? But no, yeah, this was definitely yeah. And now I'm gonna probably have to put it on too. Way to go, Jason.
Yep, you're welcome.
This is why we don't have nice things. This is why.
That's what I'm here for.
Right? So on that note, it's the end of the third. Yeah.
So just to tie this all back, in the comments, either on Facebook or on YouTube, let us know if you think Lumpy the Coal or the Canary is the better mascot for a Coal Crackers baseball team. No.
Here we go.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah, you do. Just to please.
No, Jason, I'm just messing around.
No, please go on. See what they say. See what the people say about it. I want people to hear this and then give their opinions on this, because that's.
I'm telling you, the Canary is money. You could sell little canaries. You can have the Canary Club. There's all kinds of things you could do with this.
Canary Club.
The Barnstormer's got a cow. Okay? I don't know what the Revolution got an eagle. The Coal Crackers can have a canary.
Here we go. We lost Jason.
All right. Anyway, so you can find me every Wednesday with Brad from Baseball Together on the Punk Podcast. This coming Wednesday, as this show drops, we will be talking about Fall Out Boy's 2008 album Folly Ado. It's an album I did not like at first that I have come to love immensely. So listen to our thoughts on that. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. The A Show is hosted by our friend Matt with his co-host Chris. That's a weekly wrestling podcast where the two of them and a guest draft and book the best wrestling show within the parameters of each given show. You can find the A Show on CKCC Radio, and they also have a YouTube channel now, I believe, is what Matt told me. Or they have their own video streaming something. I think it's on YouTube. I could be wrong. And you can find that wherever you get your podcasts through CKCC Radio. You can find all of our social media links, websites, and our creator store on our link tree, which is located in the description of every episode and video on YouTube. Click there, check us out on the Facebook, on the Twitter machine, Instagram, TikTok. Am I missing one? Maybe, I don't know. And if you want to
There's
visit
a list.
us, you can visit us at naspod.creator-spring. That is our shop. Check that out for your hats. No hats. For your t-shirts, your hoodies, your long sleeve shirts. I do too. I'd wear one proudly.
Yeah.
But you can find that at naspod.creator-spring.com.
I do keep checking every once in a while to see if they updated that for it.
But yeah, if they have hats, I would wear that.
But all they have is those stupid bucket hats.
No one wants a bucket hat.
Well, the logo doesn't fit right on it. It just doesn't work. Sorry, a bit better with it.
You're good. You're good, brother. You're good. And actually, you could check that link out in our video as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see that flash up on the screen every now and then. Check us out. Grab a shirt. They're really nice material. I know David wears the hoodie a lot. It's quality merchandise, and you're wearing our faces, which maybe you don't want to do. I don't know.
We wear our faces.
Oh my. Anyway, thank you for joining us for episode 43 of the Not Another Sports Podcast. You can find us available for streaming or download at anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and wherever else you get your podcast. You can also watch us on YouTube. David is nice enough to edit those and splice those together and throw them up on YouTube for us. And we're really getting a lot of new viewers from what I'm finding out on our YouTube.
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
So that's always really cool.
New subscribers and views.
That's great. More people deciding to want to watch us. With that, my name's Jason.
I'm David.
And we'll talk with you next time.
Have a good one.